Okay, so this is for week 1, Friday, math 7 for quarter 3 on sequence and patterns with explicit and recursive formula. All right, so we're going to do B, correct? Okay, so then if you take a look at B, obviously there's figure 1. So with figure 1, remember you're going to label as n equals 1, n equals 2, n equals 3, right? And then, of course, we're going to do n equals 4 and n equals 5 because that's a mix. 2, right? And as a review, remember n is the figure. T of n is total tiles. Tiles implying the little squares, right? So how many tiles do we have? So what's T of 1 here? Okay, next one. T of 2 is? One, two, 5 times. Okay, so 7, 11, and 15, are they linear or are they quadratic? I mean, like from 7 to 11, you add what? Okay, so then these numbers are the same. Do you see that? So is this quadratic or is this linear? This is linear because it's the same plus 4. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay, so then over here for n equals 4, wouldn't you say that t of 4 is then just going to be 15 plus 4? Yeah. Right? And then t of 5 will be 19 plus 4, right? Okay. So this is linear. Linear means that it's going to be a straight line. It's not going to be a curved line. It's not quadratic. Okay. So then you go ahead and draw the figures because I figure like you probably know what to do with that, right? Yeah. So do that. Okay. So now we're going to create a table. Okay. Your table is going to be with the 5 different coordinates. Okay. So your first one's 1. And what was the y value? What was the total number of tiles? Remember here is x and y, but really x is n, which is the figure. Right? And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 figure. Y is going to be the same thing as T of n, which is the total number of tiles with the total number of squares, right? So for figure 1, how many squares do you have? Yeah, 7. So then what was number 2? How many for figure 2? 7. What about figure number 3? Number 4? And number 5? And then I'm pretty sure if you guess for number 6, it's just gonna be 23 plus 4, which is gonna be 27, and it just keeps going, right? So then when you go ahead and graph you have the label, okay? This right here is n. This right here is t of n, correct? N is the number of figures, 1, 2, or 3, 4, 5. You can just stop right there, correct? T of n is tiles. Do you see how the smallest number you have is 7, the biggest number you have is 23? You see that? So you can't do 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, right? Because the biggest number here has to be 23. So maybe you start out 0, maybe 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, and that should be right. Okay, so then let's go ahead and do this. You don't start at 0. There's nothing here at 0. Okay, don't start at 0. We don't have 0. We have 1 and 7. So you just go right there. Okay, 2, 11, 3, 15, 4, 19, 5, 23. And it should be a straight line like this with that arrow right there. Does that make sense? Do you see that? Okay. So you just have to use a color pencil and just draw over it, and that's fine. Okay, now you have to write a formula, right? We talked about if this is a linear, if this is a linear equation, remember you can always use slope, correct? And you use the equation y equals mx plus b. So make sure you have this equation written down. Or you have t of n equals m. M and b doesn't change. That will always stay the same, okay? It'll be m, or not m, yeah, m of n, right? Because n is now x plus b. Do you see that? So what you need to do, first step is find the slope. The slope is m, which is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. You want to use the two first points because those are the smallest points, right? So what are the two figures that you have? Well, what's figure 1 and figure 2? Figure 1 is 1 comma what? And what's figure 2? So when you have to label this, remember I told you, first point, x1, y1, second point, x2, y2, correct? Yeah. Now I want you to go ahead and plug this into this. Plug those four numbers into that equation. Now we good. Go ahead. You're gonna memorize that formula because you've done this before. I'm gonna do it. I don't wanna. I mean, you can't make these. Don't copy what I'm doing. Make sure you do it yourself. You're being recorded. You sound like a. Oh yeah. Cool. But before that makes sense because didn't we say before that it was everything was added by 4? So it should match, right? So your slope is 4. So then we go back to this equation. So second step, we go y equals 4x plus b. Well, you still got to find b, right? The good thing about it is that with y and x, you can use one of the points. I always like to use 1 because that's the smallest easy point, right? So you're going to plug that in. So y is what? Four times n plus b. What times one? Fuck. This part is y. This part is x. Looking at this part right here, what is your y? What is your x? 1. Now plug that into that equation. What should be? I don't have any time to solve it. Well, then let's go. You need to solve for b. To get to b, you have to have the answer for x and y. You already know that m is going to be a 4, right? But you know what x and y is because we picked this point right here. This point means x is 1, y is 7. We put the 7 right here, we put the 1 right there. So we always use. You can use the second one too. It'll give you the same answer. But we use the first one because it's 1, 7. Those numbers are smaller. Well, now go ahead and find what b is. You've done this before. Now that you have b right here, you can rewrite your equation. This is going to be your third and last step. You could say y equals 4x plus 3, or you could do t of n equals 4n plus 3, but this is your equation. Does that make sense? So then let's say, for example, there is another equation here. This is, what is this? This is 5. Let's say for question number 6, they want you to go ahead and find, sure, let's do that. Find t over 50, which is the 50th figure, right? So t over 50 means that it's going to be, you're going to use the equation t of n equals 4n plus 3, right? So t of 50 equals 4 times 50 plus 3, right? What is that going to be?
Yeah, 203. 203.
Okay, and that's your answer, right?
Hmm.
Okay, let's go on to the next one. We did, this is the second one. Let's go ahead and do the first one. Yeah, I would. That would be great. All right, so then we're going to go ahead and move on to A. So this is the one. Remember when I told you you're going to do figure 1. So this will be t, or oops, not t. It will be n equals 1, n equals 2, n equals 3, fourth figure, fifth figure. And then you will have to look for the total number of tiles. So t of 1 equals 4. What's about the second one? What's the second one?
Second one is 36.
T of 2 is equal to what? T of 3 is 6. Oh, it is 6. So then do you see any direct patterns here?
It's adding up by 1.
Okay, so it looks like it's kind of linear, right? So far. So from here to here, plus 1, from here to here, plus 1. So what do you think our slope is going to be? Just 1, right? Yeah. So just keep that in your mind. Now over here, t of 4, what do you think that's going to be?
7.
Just plus 1, right? What's t of 5?
8.
Perfect. Okay. Now that we have that, we're going to create the table, correct? The first one is 1, comma what? 4, 2, comma, 3, comma, 4, comma, and then 5, comma, 8, right?
Yeah.
If you go ahead and do your table, you have to label it. N is here, T of n here, right? This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we stop right there. And then here, notice that your smallest number is 4 and your biggest number is 8, right?
I did
So starting at 0, that's fine. You could do 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. You can stop right there. Then let's go ahead and plug in the numbers. So at 1 is the 4, 2 is the 5, 3 is the 6, 4 is the 7, and then 8, right? So that your diagram just looks something like that. Right? Yours could be a little bit different because like we're all squishing this together right here. Okay, so it's not a big deal. It's fine. As long as you're doing it correctly. Did you find the equation? What is your m? Okay, or your t of n equals m of n plus b, right? So you found that m equals 1, just based on looking at the formula. But if you're gonna do the formula, I want you to practice finding it with the formula. Make sure you end up with 1 here. So practice with that. You did? Okay, so it is also 1 over 1, which is just 1. Okay, what's your B then? Okay, so then we're gonna pick a point. The easiest point is always the first one, right? So I'm gonna do 4 equals 1 times 1 plus b equals 3. You're correct. So y equals 1x plus 3. So then if I ask you a question such as what is going to be your answer? So this will be the 6th question. What is t of 50? What would be your answer? How many tiles will you have? Now that you did that, I'm gonna have you go back to question C right here and try to work on C, okay? And redo this one on your own. So go ahead and practice with that. So far, we have done question number A, or yeah, A, and then we also did B right here. So now you're gonna go ahead and work on C. Okay? So work on C. And now we'll reconvene. And once you get that one, you should be. All right, so let's take a look at C. So C of 1 is what? What's T of 2?
6,
What's T of 3?
8.
Are they consistent or not consistent? Yeah, what are they adding? So what's your slope gonna be? Okay, so then what's T of 4? What's T of 5? Okay, create your table. You create your table? Okay, what's your equation?
Uh, 5,
What's your M?
2,
Okay, and what's your B?
2.
Okay, so y equals 2x plus 2. What's T of 50 then?
4, 0.
And when you go ahead and draw this, you're at 1 is at 4, 2 is at 6, 3 is at 8, 4 is at 10, 5 is at 12, or looks something like this. Linear, correct?
Yeah.
So then when you look for your domain and range, remember your domain is going to be all the possible x values, which is going to be from left to right. This is x, this domain.
So 1 over
It's going to be 0 to positive infinity.
Yeah.
Your range is going up and down, and it's also the y. So it's from here to here. That's your range, right? That's going to be from 0 to positive infinity. Okay. And the reason I include a 0 is because you could have numbers between 0 and 1. You could do like x is 1/2, right? Or x is 1/4. So yeah, that all. All right, I think that's it. That concludes it.